Alright guys, sorry this is a little late, but I figured I'd go through kind of my process, my entire process of creating a decent looking 3D model and bringing it into Unreal Engine, just so you guys have it for reference, you know. So the first thing I do is kind of look at references of whatever the item is that I want to model out. So I pull up trusty google.com here, and I don't know, let's make a hatchet. No, I don't want to do Amazon. Alright. That's kind of cool. But now I want to add an old hatchet. I want a nice looking hatchet. Let's see. Oh, content be warned, there might be some gross stuff on here. I don't have my results filtered, so. And I just kind of look for one that's a decent quality image that I can use as a reference. And of course I'll adjust it as I need to, but that's not bad. Alright, so what I'll do here is I'll save the image. Save the JPEG. And I'm going to go ahead and minimize that and put that on my desktop. What? Oh, it already did put it on my desktop. Okay, that's fine. Alright, now there isn't a top image, so I'll just kind of make do with what we've got here. Alright, so the first thing I do is I create a plane. I scale it up a little bit, rotate it, and then I'll move it back. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to look at the resolution on this image. So 1023 by 680. So a little trick you can do is for the scale, I'm going to modify and freeze transformations. We can do like 10 by 6.8. And now, and I got those numbers from these. So if I click on it and hover over it, if it'll give me the details on it, 1023 by 680. So 10 by 6.8. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's, you know, the closer the better. So right click, new material, and we'll just do a Lambert. Go to the material, over the color I check the box, go to file, and then I will go ahead and select that file, which it's DSC, like that. Open. Okay, I'll maximize this and turn on materials. And now what I want to do is just rotate it this way, because this is the direction I want to work in. 90. Okay, not too bad. And actually, I think I want it a little bit wider than that. Okay, not too bad. So now, to prevent being able to select this, I'm going to add it to a layer. And I'm going to click that box twice so it's a reference. So I actually can't select it. And actually, before I do that, I just want to move it over here. So the body of it's kind of right on that. So that's kind of my starting point, you know. Alright. So now I'll just grab a box. And I want to create a new material on him too. Do a Lambert. And then I'll just put the transparency up a bit. A little bit more. Just so I can kind of see through it. And I also want to turn off my grid here. Okay. So now that we have this, we can go ahead and start manipulating our box here. So the first thing I do is I just kind of line up the base. We'll see. Okay. Basically what I want to do here is just kind of get everything in generally the spot that it should be in. Okay, so now I'll take a step back and I'll look at it and see where I need edges to be added in. So you see how this is bumped out here? So what I want to do is insert an edge loop right about here. Move that along there. I'll deal with the bottom later. And then insert another edge loop. I'll set it right here. That's not too bad. Let's go ahead and add another one. Like right there. And also, if you hit G on the keyboard, it will actually repeat the previous action that you did. So in our case, it'll use the last tool that we used. So I want to add those there. Kind of create a nice curve going on that. Yeah, not too bad. So now, I just want to go into perspective mode and try and round this guy out a little bit. Yeah. So kind of make it look more like a handle, if you get what I mean. So if I go back to my material and I make that a little bit more visible, you're able to see it kind of taking the shape there. And I also want to add an edge loop kind of right in the middle there. We're going to bring that out just a little bit to kind of give it that rounded. And I'm going to bring this guy in a little bit too, so it's not so sharp. Oh, looks pretty good. Okay. So now I just want to kind of, I'll wait on that. I'll wait on the next part. Okay. So now what we want to do is do the head of it. So we can extrude those faces. Let's go ahead and go to front view here so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to select all these faces. Okay. I'm going to select these guys. Just kind of bring them in. And then I want to extrude these down a little bit. So it kind of creates that head of our object there. And now basically I just want to extrude out this guy right here. Select my vertices, put them up and down to where I want them. And I'm going to make that more transparent again. Okay. So now I'm going to start adding in my edges there. And don't worry, we'll worry about the width after. Right now I'm just getting the general shape of everything. Vertices. Do the same thing there. Do the same thing there. Alright. So now I'm just going to hide this real quick. Back here. Do that so we can kind of see what we're doing here. Okay, so we have a few options of how we can go about fixing the actual axe part. One method I like doing is maybe bring these edges here back. And then bring them in. And then let's go ahead and I'm just going to freeze transformations. So now I can bring those down. And somehow this guy got in more than the other side. Alright, so I guess I'll do the same thing right here. Alright, so now what I want to do is start edging in where I want to keep the form. Well, we'll see how that works out. I don't know if I like that very much though, because the edge goes all along the entire thing, so we'll see. And this, of course, represents a a model that like the player would have in their hand. So it would be up close, so you would want it to be a relatively decent poly count. That doesn't look too bad. I'm okay with that. So let's smooth it out and see what we get. Yeah, I really don't like those edges. So you select the whole edge and hit Control and then delete, and it'll delete the edge, and it will also delete all the vertices that are attached to that edge. So it kind of helps clean it up. All right, it's not too bad. We'll roll with it for now. Okay. So now I would like two separate materials for this. So I'm going to do two separate UVs, I think. No, I won't do that. I'll do it all one. So let's take a look and see how the automatic does before we go ahead. So the automatic didn't do too bad. So I'm going to sew those bad boys together. I'm going to kind of sew together what I can without warping these too much. So as you can see, like I did these ones because they're kind of facing the same direction, but these guys are rotated downward, so that would warp it too much. Same goes for that guy right there, and I believe this guy is going to be on the other side. Yeah, okay. So this right here would be the handle. Turn on that. What are you? Okay. All right. So as I unfolded it, it doesn't end up looking too bad. If you keep hitting this button, this one moves the UV for better texture distribution, so it kind of flattens it out a little bit, and that's kind of how we want it. So I'm not too worried about the placement of these UVs because I think I'm going to paint in Mudbox. All right, let's find out what you are. Okay, you're that piece. So we can attach you. That's fine. Go ahead and attach you there. And I'm thinking, okay, so that goes around there. And that goes around there. But we can attach those guys together. Grab the UVs for this. And let's go ahead and unfold that a bit. And let's flatten it out. I'm really not a huge fan of this guy here being separate like it is. Because the more separations you have, the more seams you're going to have. I'm not a huge fan of having a bunch of seams. So let's see what this does. and kind of roll with it. Let's see what that does when I sew it. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's go ahead and do same thing on the other side here. Okay, let's go up one more, just so it's even on both sides. And let's unfold and see what happens here. We want to just keep clicking that so it's the texture is as straight and even as it can be. And you know what? I might actually separate this again right here. I'm gonna split. Now I'm gonna grab these, unfold again. I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of how that looks, but we'll try it out and see why not. I'm just kind of playing with them a little bit to see how big I can get them to fit into the 0 to 1 space. Okay, now before you forget, I recommend going to polygons, copy UVs, and then into a new set. And then you should have two. The UV set and then map 1. Map 1 is what you're going to use for the texture and stuff. UV set is going to be the one that's used for light maps and stuff in Unreal Engine. Right. So yeah, that's not too bad. So let's go ahead and bring that into Mudbox. Right. Pretty good. So first things first, I'm just going to flatten it and see what we can do about it in here. I don't really like that, so let me grab a wood texture. Something that would look good on the handle. Like this guy's pretty good. I could get some cool variation out of that. Yeah, let's go with that one. Okay, so I'm gonna add stencil, desktop. Okay. So now we've got our stencil in here. Let's use tile. Let's not use tiles. We'll just do it in bits here. So I want to project, and I'm going to make the brush smaller here. So now I'm just going to take my time with this and make sure I kind of get some nice variation with this small texture, but still. I also want to try kind of following the grain here. Oh, and that's a big no-no. Don't ever zoom out. That's my mistake. Because when you zoom out, you lose the scale. And that's when everything looks kind of wonky. Okay, now before I go too far, I want to see what that's looking like. Not too bad. Yeah, and that's something you want to be careful of right there. Not getting that seam in it. I keep messing up my hotkeys, so bear with me there. And it's starting to look blotchy, and I really don't want to spend all that time. So we're going to go ahead and grab a seamless one, and then I'll just darken it. Okay, I'll show you why I'm grabbing a seamless one. Save image, seamless. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add another stencil. Seamless, open. So now I can use tiles. And I project this guy right on here. And then I can adjust the color after. You can also make the brush bigger to make it go quicker. Would be a good idea. Okay, let's take a look. Too bad. Unflatten. See what I mean about the grain? But you can also kind of touch it up here if you want to. It doesn't, I don't really like the way it comes out. But yeah, like I said, I mean, this is kind of my process here. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's better. And sorry I'm not talking too much. It's really a concentration thing. Okay, so now I want to label this. Wood diffuse. And now we can go ahead and make our adjustments. I may have presets and things like that, but I prefer doing it myself. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do that for now. Just to darken it up a little bit. Maybe we'll go something like that. Yeah, that's okay. I like that. And now to see kind of where you're at with it, you can duplicate it, move selected to bump map, and then normal map from bump, and always use tangent space. And then we'll go ahead and delete that. Now we can take a look at what our normal map currently looks like. Then you can adjust it, make it a little less there. And just like the Photoshop layers, you can mess with the colors and so on. I'm not going to, I just wanted to show you that. Alright, so that's not too bad. One thing I did forget, however, was this little divot right in here. We'll just go ahead and just paint right in there. Carefully, of course. See, that's one of the benefits of having them on a different layer. Is you can kind of put them above it, if you know what I mean. Like, so the wood texture won't show over the top of the metal texture and vice versa. And then we'll adjust this guy. That looks alright. Alright, so now is for the handle, or the head, I mean. So let's flatten that again. And you see we've got a texture down there. So now we can just create a new paint layer. I'm going to put it on the bottom. And there is one that's kind of like metal scratches. Yeah, this guy. This guy's the one I want to use. Okay. So now we could just go ahead and project this. And because I put the layer underneath, it's just going to go right over the top of that guy. Do the same thing over here. Unflatten. And for some reason this happens. I'm not quite sure why. Bug and mud box maybe. But you just got to kind of select it and then deselect it. Alright, and I actually don't like that too much. It's too blotchy. So I'm going to flatten again. I'm just gonna. Oh. Nice if I had the projection tool selected, yeah. There. It's a little bit nicer here. Not so splotchy. More like scratchy. So now let's unflatten. Take a look at what we got. Not too bad. We can create another layer, and this time we'll use that. We'll definitely be using that in a minute. But here, I think I'm just going to grab a stamp. Let's see which one I want to use. I want to use like a dark gray. I'm just kind of airbrushing everything right now. I don't want to completely cover everything, but I want it to be covered decently, you know. Okay, so now what we want to do is just overlay that. And let's duplicate this and make a normal map out of it. So bump map, and then make a normal out of it. And delete that. Okay, I went ahead and added a little bit of normal to it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that again. Going to move into specular. Now we've got specularity in certain spots. I do the same thing. Maybe not. Let's just duplicate. Move selected to specular. And I just want to darken this just a little bit. Alright. And now let's dirty it up some more, yeah? So one of my favorite things to do in the box here is grab our metal texture, and I like to paint in specularity where the tool will be used most often.
You can also go ahead and use something like this guy. Make him smaller. And I'm going to turn off use tiles. Let's see what that does. And then we'll go finish this off with a stamp. Let's paint it on like that. And actually, you know what? Let's do a new material. Here, we'll just try to paint over everything. You know what they say, the edge is where all the magic happens. So. Same thing goes on up here. And then we also want scratches. And I'm also doing all of this with my mouse, so please bear with me. It's not going to be the most beautiful things in the world, but we did a job, you know. I'm just going through my stencils here, trying to find different things I can use. Oh, oops. And now make that smaller still. You know, it's an axe that's being used. It's gonna have scratches and stuff on it. And the edges where it puts it down. Setting it on the top of it. Okay. And now, this is the part I like. We'll make zombie apocalypse. Alright, so now we've got some blood on our hatchet. And now okay. So now we want our scratches to be specular. I'm going to move that to the top because it's shiny, because that's where the metal is kind of polished away, you know what I mean? So that's what's going to be shiniest. Duplicate our dried blood. We'll select it to specular also. Put that up there. But now I'm going to adjust. Make it dark. So it's not really specular. Because it's dried blood, it's not really going to have any shine to it. Yeah. No, looking pretty good. I mean, it could definitely use more TLC. And now, of course, I want my scratches to be normaled a little bit. Cancel. Okay. Alright, so let's add some details to the handle here. Let me think. Add another material. I'm going to paint this black. That's the handle. And I'm also going to use a stencil. I want to use him. But I also want to choose that guy. Okay. So now we've got our skull. I'm also going to let's make him a bit bigger here. We'll put it right there. There. So now we got a little skull detail on there. We can add in some kind of rusty or dirty details, I guess. Let's make another one. I'm gonna name this skull detail. Um, this we're gonna do good dark brown with it. And now I'm just kind of adding in random stuff here. Kind of make it look more interesting than just a plain old handle. And now what we can do is multiply that in. And that kind of makes it look a little dirty, I guess. We'll get rid of the specularity too on that, so it's not shiny at all. I'm gonna adjust color, value all the way down on that. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it'll do for now, I guess. Alright. That's pretty cool, I guess. Let's just go ahead and add some to up here as well. There's some other spots on here that isn't specular, so it shows it's kind of dirty. I wonder. Let's see. I'm gonna grab this guy, duplicate, move selected to bump map, and then move selected to whoops, normal map for bump. Alright, and let's set all of these to overlay. Yeah. I'm really not happy with it at all, but it'll do for now. Okay, so let's do duplicate merge visible. Let's delete you. Duplicate merge visible. And the same with this, duplicate merge visible. So now we can export selected. And I'm going to do these as targets. Export selected. Hatchet S. Finally, export selected. Hatchet N. Alright. So now we can go ahead and apply this stuff. New material, blend. Okay. I'm going to modify freeze and delete all history so I can actually see my texture here. I'm going to grab a color. And this will be our Hatchet D. I'm going to grab our bump mapping, tangent space, your Hatchet N, and the specular color. We'll do the same thing and grab our Hatchet S. And now we've got a alright looking hatchet, okay? The file, export selection, make sure FBX is selected. Desktop, hatchet underscore mesh. And you want to make sure smoothing groups is on, smooth mesh. This should all be on by default. And then embed media, you want to embed it so the textures go with it. And the rest is pretty much default unless you're doing a static mesh, or a skeletal mesh, I mean, which I can show later. So let's export him and open up Unreal Engine. Open up this guy. Oh, actually, I should have made a shovel, shouldn't I? Okay. So now, let's go ahead and import our hatchet. Import materials and textures. Import all. Might have to. Oh no, you don't. Okay. That's good. Save all. Let's open up a new level. Okay. And I'm just gonna get rid of that. Lights. Point light. There we go. We can kind of see our hatchet in the engine. It's a little big, yes, but it's not too bad. Just scale it down a little bit. Not too bad. Actually, it came out pretty good, considering the texture's not that great on it. But it shows you the process, you know, overall. You just kind of keep messing with it and going from there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the process as a whole. Obviously, more research needs to be done and more careful consideration about how the textures are going to be created and applied and things like that. Those are all things you definitely want to think about. This was just a demonstration, so. Um, Actually, now this is just kind of me messing around. I just want to render this real quick and then I'll end the video. Yeah, and that's it rendered in Maya. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys later.